Hey guys, welcome back. It's been like 3 days since I tried to do this the first time. And that's because my bag of soil was outside and we had a complete frost. It was hard as a rock when I went outside to go get it. So I ended up bringing it inside, not in the garage because my garage is not heated. I ended up bringing it inside my house, sitting in front of a window-ish, like a warm spot. So hopefully it could thaw out really quickly. And then now we're in our blizzard 2026. We have been predicted to have a lot of snow, a lot of rain, a lot of ice. I don't think we'll get that much snow that will actually stay and accumulate like it did last year. We're going to continue on and start these snapdragons and Lisianthus. I have my glasses on again today. I think I had them on the last time, and I think I need something else because I need to learn to read instructions better. However, I'm pretty sure I'm probably going to do something similar because I can't help myself, but I'm going to do my best just because I had a snapdragon fail. I did not seed them in the 4 cells that I cut them. I cut them up in 4 cell trays. So I have the 24 like this one. This one's a complete one. I cut mine up in 4 cells. So I just went and cut along to give me 6 4 cell trays. However, I did not seed them in that order. I seed them across, not taking into account that I needed to keep like with like in the same 4 that were divided. So when I do that tray again, I'll make sure to have them not in this tray to keep them all nice and tidy. I will have to make sure I take out the tray so I can see where the partitions are, because then I realize later, how am I going to take out the ones I need to take out once they germinate, because they're attached to something that still hasn't germinated and needs a dome or something. So my mistake. Anyway, so we are going to continue on. I do have more seeds than I do cells for my snaps. So I'm going to do my best because they're all the same. So they all should germinate roughly about the same anyway. I'm going to try and germinate them maybe in this direction. I don't know how many seeds I'm going to put in each cell. I probably put no more than 2 just because I want them to have enough space. They are very tiny. They're not as bad as Lisianthus, is how slow they grow and how tiny they are. Because the Lisianthus, when they come up, their leaves are like the size of like a really tiny pencil tip, and then they finally start getting bigger from there. They just don't grow. They stay at that small size for what seems like an awful long time, like ages and ages. However, the snaps, I've noticed that they are small, but when they finally pop those little beginner leaves out, they're still rather large compared to Lisianthus. So I don't want them to grow too fast with each other, even though they are slow growing in a sense. But I don't want them to start impeding on each other if I have like 3 or 4 in a cell. Trying to get these, trying to get it done. Have beautiful flowers. I feel like no one wants me to have beautiful flowers. Ooh, this is wet enough. That is some nice, perfectly. Look at that soil. Look at that soil. Okay, it doesn't really have a lot of like big sticks. Sometimes there's some small stuff in there, but for the most part, they're not super huge. Nothing that you can't really sift out unless, like, if you wanted to, you could sift it out. But I've never really had any issues with them. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it this direction. I'm going to do 8 cells for each of the snaps that I have. I'm going to do 2 seeds in each cell. So how much is that? That's 16. So that'll be 16, and I have quite a bit. So I may have to do some succession sowing just to make sure that I have enough. I don't know how many I have of this first one because I've already did some and only like 5 of them came up. Maybe, okay, just like 2 successfully came up. Let me be honest. But I have quite a bit in here. So if I think about how many I think I did, probably 2, 4, 6, 8, 2, 4, 6, 8. I might have done like 12, and there's supposed to be 50. So that means I have 38 more in here. So let me go ahead and fill these cells up. Put the labels in each section that I need to have them in, and then we'll go from there. All right, so I have, again, turn it this way. Let's not forget what I'm doing here. We're going to do the Ponomac Lavender Snap. We'll put some pictures on there. It's a nice purple lavender type color. I'm super excited about all the flowers. Let's just put that out there. I'm super excited about having warmth and having sun and having the ability to go outside without feeling extremely cold or extremely hot or extremely miserable. However, I have 50 seeds. I only bought one pack of these. It's not like massive instructions, but there are some good tips that you should take away from the back of the seeds. Johnny's have a lot of good information on the back of here. So for this one, it takes about 14 days to germinate. You want it to be at about 70 to 75 during the day. After the seeds have about 3 to 5 true leaves, we want them to grow at about 50 to 55. So you want them a little bit warmer and then growing cooler once they germinate. About 1.5 to 2 inches. You want to pinch them back that much off. So if they're about 3 to 4 inches, pinch about half their height, and then to help with branching. I'm going to do about 2 per cell. I don't know how many I'll have left after that. So like I said, I'll use the extras that are off to the side, and hopefully we'll get some more at some point. I don't know. I will cover this with a humidity dome. I have a designated humidity dome for this one. I have to say it's not very good. The Garden Supply humidity domes are on the cheaper. They're better than the ones you get at Home Depot and Lowe's, but they're on the cheaper made materials for the dome tops. I feel like they could do a little bit better with the quality so they last longer. You know, if you want to buy a fairly expensive container that's sturdy and feels really good, but then you kind of skimp on the lid. So I'm going to do 2 per cell. So I got them all good during that time. So I'm going to put 1. I'm just going to make sure that it makes contact with everything. I don't want them to, kind of want to make sure there's no crevices for them to accidentally fall into where they sink too low. So let me just firm it just a little bit. I don't want to be too tight or compact, but just firm it just a little bit before I put any seeds in. 1 right there. We'll just do this all the way across. You could do the toothpick method, get a little bit of water, you dip the toothpick in, and then you tap the seed, and you should be able to get them to distribute a little bit easier for yourself. $19, $23. So there's like 23 left in here, and I just put in 16. So we're about right with the numbers that I imagined. All right, so I still have a little bit more in here. I'm going to put them in. This is not labeled on the outside, so you definitely want to either label the container for the vial or keep the paper. So that's Ponomac Lavender. Now we're going to do the Avignon Silver, which I cannot remember what that looks like, but they're all really pretty. I think I picked more of the pastel colors, nothing super crazy dark or saturated in color. They're about yellow in color for the coating on them. All right, I need to stop slouching. I'm like the Hunchback of Notre Dame. Right there. And this doesn't typically take super long. Like you can come out here, knock this out really fast, especially if you're not doing anything super fancy. I need to put an extra one there. I think I just buried it. So that was 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So we're good on that one. And we're going to put the rest of these back in here. And then the last one I'm going to do is, like I said, the Avignon Lavender. I think it's going to be a super great year for snaps, even though I started off really poorly. I have 2 pelleted and these are not pelleted, so this may be a little bit more challenging than the last 2 that I just did. I'm going to try and see if I could just get just a couple at a time, because these are much harder to handle. I feel like I make sure my hand is dry, and there's no dirt specks, because I'm not going to be able to tell the difference. Okay, so there's 3 of them. This is going to be great. I think that went in. This is a guessing game at this point because I have no idea if it went in there. Oh my gosh, this is so tiny. Okay. This is crazy. Like these are like specks of soil or something. I can barely feel it on my hand. That was something. All right, so I'm gonna put these back in here. Hopefully I got something. I don't know. I'm gonna spritz them right now. I'm hoping that will keep them a little bit more in place. And then I'm gonna put some vermiculite on. So I got this big old bag, got it from like Lowe's and Home Depot. I'm just gonna put a nice light layer over the whole thing. Do another little spritz. Now the humidity dome really helps to keep them evenly damp until they break through the pellet or the seed or both. This is my Moby Dick. Well, this is not my Moby Dick. This is my Moby Dick. Is my white whale. This one's my white whale, my unicorn, my mythical flower that I cannot seem to completely attain. I think I got one for the Lisianthus. They also have certain requirements. Let's go over that. It is an excellent cut flower. Everyone typically knows Lisianthus, that they have really long vase life, probably like 2 or 3 weeks is what I'm hearing. I've never cut them to use them as flowers because I've only ever gotten one bloom and it stayed in the backyard. So it says right here, you want to transplant as recommended. You want to sow them in 12 to 13 weeks and in deep cell packs before your last frost. So they do take an extremely long time. Man, I gotta remember. Sit up straight. Back. Okay. Remember. Do not cover seed as light as needed. Keep evenly moist but not saturated. Very similar to the snaps, about 70, 75 degrees for the temperature, for the soil temperature. Provide good air circulation until they emerge. You just want to make sure that with any of these, with the snaps or the Lisianthus, that it's not so much moisture. You just want enough to get them to germinate. Any more than that is promoting the ability for algae to grow, and that could definitely impact them because after a while, they will succumb to it. Some people like to put cinnamon because I know that that's like an antibacterial kind of thing too. That tends to help. I have no idea. I've tried it once. It seemed to work, but when they're wet for so long, just make sure you're not keeping them drenched. Transplant no later than the 4th leaf stage, approximately 21 to 28 days after, I'm guessing, they germinate. I think you're going to be better off after they germinate, letting them dry out more by accident than over watering them because it's harder to get the soil to dry out super quick without stressing them out with too much heat. I think having less square footage of soil means less moisture overall, and I think they will be happier in a smaller container closer together. Now I'm going to still try to put them in kind of a row formation, so I'm not just going to literally sprinkle them in here, but I'm going to place them in here where I can just have enough soil down at the bottom. I'm not going to fill this up super big, maybe about an inch, inch and a half, so that we have enough base for them when they get bigger to grow up. These don't tend to mind being handled as some don't like their roots, but I noticed that because they're so tiny, you can literally scoop them out fairly easy without disturbing them too much. And I think they'll be okay. For me, I just want less soil to have to, I'm an overwaterer. So because I'm a chronic overwaterer, I'm trying to limit my ability to overwater by putting them in this tray. This tray does not have holes at the bottom. I probably should do that. But that's going to keep me from hopefully overwatering because I'll be conscious of that. So it's probably about maybe an inch or two, probably less than 2 inches, but within an inch, 1 to 2 inches, I think that will be enough. And we're going to just get these puppies in here. I don't know about 50. This does not look like 50. Oh, I just dropped one. I'm pretty sure I did. Well, I don't know if I got 50, but I've always had more luck that they put a couple more in here than they don't. But we're going to go with this. Remember, they need light to germinate. I'm going to try and give them a little bit of space in between. And we're just going to keep going. I feel like people have better luck when it's a smaller impact on space. And I don't know if that's just because less moisture or whatever. Dang it. I need something to like zap me every time I don't sit up straight. I could just be messing myself up entirely, putting them all in here. Wait, how many was that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 40, 41, 42. Let me double check to make sure I was actually supposed to get 50. Okay, I was supposed to actually get 50 and I only have 42. So I'm missing, 42-ish, if I didn't count wrong. I'm missing 8 seeds. 8 seeds that will probably have perished anyway, but I would have loved to have the opportunity to try. Thanks, Johnny. Anyway, we're going to spritz them really nicely. I mean, how do you go and like, hey, I'm missing 8 seeds? Well, you all saw me open the package. You saw me empty out this entire container. It's completely empty. Nothing's stuck in the lid. Double checking. Nothing's in the lid. And, ooh, I think I found one right here. I think the one I dropped is right here. 43. So how do you go about getting your 5 seeds? Anyway, so that's as much as I'm going to put in there. And then I'm going to cover them with a little bit of vermiculite and spritz them again, but I'm going to do a really light layer. Fabulous. And then I'm going to spritz them again.
Hey guys, I just want to cut in real quick because I wanted to show you we have reports and sightings of Lisianthus babies. So I planted these back in January 25th, so maybe a week or so ago, and I am so glad to report that we have little seedlings. However, now is the time for me to keep them alive. I don't know if I'm going to be successful. All right, back to what you were watching.
We have our Lisianthus. The Lisianthus that I got, I don't think I went over that. It's called Voyage to First Love. It's an F1 pelleted, so it does have a coating over it. Do not ask me what F1 is because I'm always so confused about the whole system because they have F1. Sometimes they'll say Voyage 2. Like, I don't know. Don't ask me. That is something that you have to go onto Johnny's website to look at because for me, I don't do it for a specific reason. Like I'm not doing weddings. I'm not doing a cut flower farm to sell. I just grow a lot of flowers because I find it fun. Just the same with food and vegetables. I just grow it for a lot of fun. You may be wondering why I'm sitting here with just some cling wrap, but it's because my phone stopped recording. I went ahead and finished putting seeds in the other cells. There's a little bit of that towards the end of when it got cut off. Filled them all up. Put everything the same as when I started the Lisianthus in the other first batch of snaps. Put my vermiculite on, sprinkled them with some water, and shoved them under the grow lights. But anyway, so I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.